Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the final season of Digimon Adventure. The end of Digimon Adventure. Kinda. Welcome to the Super Dark Master Saga review. While it has been a long and wild ride watching through Digimon Adventure, this series is great, but does the final story arc hold up? Let's find out. Last time we said goodbye to MetalSeaDramon, but the sky all around the world was seemingly merging with the digital world. Digimon started invading the real world, worldwide crisis kind of shit. And so the Digidestined, having now defeated MetalSeaDramon and saved Kyoto, need to return to the digital world to attempt to fix the distortions that are affecting both worlds. And at the start of this saga we immediately meet the four Dark Masters. Piemon is watching the real world through a telescope, and he's accompanied by MetalSeaDramon, Puppetmon and Machinedramon. And we are back in the digital world now. Mimi finds Piemon, who seems pretty traumatized. And oh no, Sukamon is dead. Rest in peace. And then Piemon gives us some exposition. A lot has changed. The Dark Masters have reshaped the digital world. You see, time moves differently in the digital world. While the Digidestined have been in the real world fighting MetalSeaDramon, a long time has passed in the digital world. The Mega level Dark Masters have risen, and they rule from atop Spiral Mountain. And it's time to fight already! The gang's champion level Digimon are no match against the Mega level MetalSeaDramon. And their ultimate levels are no match against the Mega level Machinedramon. And Puppetmon makes them fight each other. They're getting the full Dark Masters tour. He sends them to a coliseum where they meet a clown. How suspicious. This clown tells them a story about being killed by the Dark Masters, and who saw that coming? It's actually Piemon, or Piemon in the Japanese. Piemon as in a pie, because clowns throw pies. Piemon is better than Piemon, I think, though. And it's time for the Megas versus the Mega. Piemon kicks both of their asses at the same time. Oh yeah, by the way, Machinedramon is called Mugendramon in Japanese. And Puppetmon is called Pinocchiomon, as in Pinocchio, which is also, I think, better than Puppetmon. And then, as Piemon tries to kill Mimi, Piemon jumps in the way and sacrifices himself, actually dying in the process. Oh my god. And it's the return of Piemon, or Apocalymon. He saves the Digidestined, except that he's not fast enough to escape the Dark Masters, so he sends them to Spiral Mountain as he stays to delay the Dark Masters, all by himself. Oh boy, Piemon is going to die, isn't he? And there we go, what a way to open a saga. Very dark, very depressing, very evil. The Digidestined are filled with despair as they realise their helplessness, even though they are the only hope for the digital world. You can tell this is the final arc, the way it's presented. They are returning to the land of their adventures only to find it reshaped beyond recognition. And the friends they've made are dying off. It's pretty brutal. And we start getting some major callbacks to the start of Digimon Adventure. We see broken telephone booths, as in the telephone booths that they saw at the beginning of Digimon Adventure. They are metaphorically back at the start of their journey. And the Digidestined get baited by Xiaomon, but their rookie level Digimon defeat him. So Taichi surmises that their Digimon are stronger now. They didn't need a champion level Digimon to defeat a champion level Digimon. This is basically, storytelling wise, to show us that even though they just got trounced by the Dark Masters, they are more powerful than they used to be. Their journey hasn't been in vain, they have learnt, they have grown, they have become stronger. But the Dark Masters are just that much stronger than them now. And the Digidestined see a beach hut that is clearly a mirage. Didn't they get tricked by this in Season 1? Well, it didn't turn out to be a mirage, but it was a trap. And the Digidestined mostly get their asses kicked, except for Joe and Mimi. So, although they did get stronger, they haven't gotten any smarter, still falling for the same old tricks. And then Pseudomon and Lilymon make short work of Anomalocalymon? Close enough. However, MetalSeaDramon is after them. Well, they're screwed, aren't they? Wait a second, I recognise that shadow. It's another friend to the rescue. It's Whammon. Could it be the long-awaited return of Harmonica Yamato? Yes it is. Oh boy, Yamato plays the harmonica while Gatomon catches some fish. Meanwhile, Koshiro shows why he's a genius. He theorizes that Wargreymmon's Dramon Killer attack could potentially defeat MetalSeaDramon, because MetalSeaDramon and the Dramon Killer is effective against Dramon type Digimon. Yes, strategy, tactics. And then MetalSeaDramon's goons find the Digidestined. Whammon, however, dives so deep that their deep sea diving equipment breaks under the pressure. Whoop whoop, well done Whammon. And Hikari uses her whistle as a sonar radar. But MetalSeaDramon finds them, and then they escape again, and they return to the surface. But MetalSeaDramon catches them again. And it's fighting time. So, MetalSeaDramon is made of Chrome Digizoid, the same material Wargreymmon's armor is made out of. Basically, it's the super hard material of the digital world. And oh no, oh Whammon. In Whammon we trust, or we did, and now he's dead. And then... oh, Wargreymon literally tears through MetalSeaDramon in one attack. That was really anticlimactic. It felt like they rushed that fight at the end, like really rushed it. And Whammon did die. Oh no, another one bites the dust. And so, with MetalSeaDramon defeated, the water of Spiral Mountain disappears. Oh boy, I sure hope Leomon doesn't turn up and die. Once again though, even though their friends are dying, it shows the importance of their journey. The friends they've made along the way are helping them escape certain doom so that they can eventually win. Without Piemon, they would have died. So the friends they've made along the way are just as important as how strong they've become from this journey. Puppetmon is a psycho. So Puppetmon kidnaps Takeru and it's hide and seek where the loser dies. And we see Puppetmon just straight up kill his own minions, like as if he needed to be any more of a bad guy. Eventually Takeru outsmarts Puppetmon. Oh yeah, he calls him boring and accuses him of having no friends. And then he rips apart Puppetmon's toys that he used to control the forest. But Puppetmon totally has a friend, this guy. Meanwhile, Yamato has a disagreement with Taichi, and he can't digivolve Gabumon. Ah, shit. I mean, Yamato and Taichi always argue, it's kind of their thing. Luckily, Patamon found Takeru, and they escape without Yamato's help. And he took Puppetmon's dolls of everybody so that he can't control them anymore. MVP of the entire series, Takeru. And when Yamato realises Takeru escaped without him, he runs off into the forest alone to have a mental breakdown. Hikari keeps hearing a voice in the distance. Is she insane? What could it be? Could it be Azulongmon? Doesn't he show up at some point? Or am I thinking of the wrong series? Yeah, I'm thinking of the wrong series, aren't I? Meanwhile, Puppetmon wants to kill Yamato now that he's all alone. But Doraemon, an evil tree Digimon, asks him to leave it to him. Yamato feels the need to change, to become stronger, and he thinks he needs to be alone to make that happen. Enter Doraemon. He just wants to talk, honest. And we find out Doraemon is basically a boomer. Aha, here it is. Doraemon tells Yamato that to be stronger he must defeat his rival, who is Taichi, of course. Doraemon continues to convince Yamato that he must defeat Taichi, and Doraemon tests Yamato's belief in friendship, oh boy. But Yamato and Gabumon's friendship causes Gabumon to warp Digivolve. Metal Garurumon is back, baby. So Doraemon reports its success to Puppetmon, but then he pisses Puppetmon off when he warns him that he may lose to the Digidestined if he takes them lightly. So Puppetmon kills him. Oh boy, psychopath Puppetmon. And it's time for your main event. It's Metal Garurumon versus Wargreymon. These two are always fighting. To be fair, in the grand narrative of Digimon Adventure, these two were bound to eventually have an actual fight. And then Hikari finds some shining sparkles and starts talking to them. Yes, she has gone insane. And then everyone turns into light. It's a Digi miracle. And oh boy, we see the fight from 4 years ago. Hikari is possessed by the Context Ghost. Whatever being this is that's possessing Hikari wishes for balance. And we witness the Digidestined being chosen. Oh my god, we're getting backstory, lore. This is fantastic. and then we see the Digidestined's Digitama and Digivices and crests in a major flashback. The reason the Digidestined were chosen is because Taichi and Hikari's presence allowed the Digitama that appeared in the human world back in the Digimon Adventure movie. They allowed that Digi-Egg to digivolve into Greymon. So they were like digital humans in the digital world, and they wanted to bring the Digidestined to the world, to prepare to the digital world, to prepare for the coming darkness. Okay. However, the Dark Masters found out about their plan and they attacked their base. And we see a young Genai. Genai saved everyone's Digitama and crests. Alas, he dropped Gatomon during the chase. Then, the Digimon waited for a very long time, until eventually, the Digidestined appeared. So initially, I got confused for a moment, because the reason the digital humans chose the Digidestined is because they saw the events of the Digimon Adventure movie. And I thought, hold on a minute, that's only a few years ago. Why is Genai so old now? Of course, it's because time in the digital world flows differently. It was only a few years ago that the Digimon Adventure movie happened. In the digital world, it was actually a very long time. Long enough for Genai to become an old man. See, this isn't too complex or convoluted. It all makes sense. So, what happened to the Dark Masters? Well, I believe that is a story for another time. Like, literally. I think we don't find out about why the Dark Masters disappeared and then came back until Digimon Adventure Tree, if I remember correctly. Anyway, this context flashback comes to a close, and Yamato kind of makes up with everybody, but he still chooses to leave the group and go his own way. And then Mimi and Joe also split from the group. Mimi doesn't want to fight anymore. Everyone is being separated, but it's different this time. They're not being separated against their will, it's their own choice, because they each have their own separate paths to follow. And the highlight of the Dark Masters saga, the return of Etemon, baby! Oh, and we see Ogamon. Ogamon is still alive. Oh boy, a meteor appears and it's heading towards Mimi and Joe. Luckily, it hits the Woodmon that had been attacking the Ogamon. Meanwhile, Taichi starts to act more mature and intelligent. He starts to think about what Yamato would do. Instead of directly attacking Puppetmon's mansion, he decides to scout it out first. And if it's too dangerous, then they won't attack. Haha. He's become less of an idiot and more of a leader. Mimi shows Ogamon kindness. Uh-oh. Ogamon is going to die, isn't he? And then Puppetmon finds them, and the fight begins. But of course, they're no match for Puppetmon. And then... he's here! The return of the king! It's MetalSeaDramon! So, how is this possible? I think it's best to let MetalSeaDramon explain.
I used to be Edamon, kid, but that was a long time ago. Now, I'm MetalSeaDramon! Now here's what transpired when Edamon expired. Listen up, baby! I'm sure you all remember the battle I had with MetalSeaDramon. I'll tell you, he's one tough dinosaur, honey. After that, I was swallowed up by a black hole. I think I gave it indigestion. My digital information was scattered throughout the universe. I pulled myself together and chilled out for a while in Digimon Limbo. My information was chopped, mixed, whipped, and pureed. I felt like a 4-speed blender, honey. But I refused to return to the digital world until I was bigger, better, and had a full head of beautiful metal hair. Now I'm back to get my revenge on you, Digidestined.
He and Puppetmon were made for each other. Ogamon reveals that Leomon is his eternal rival, and that he doesn't actually harbour any hard feelings towards Leomon. Oh man, he's definitely gonna die, isn't he? And the Digidestined start the fight with Puppetmon. They use Puppetmon's house against him. Meanwhile, Mimi and Joe, and Saber Leomon, who saved them from MetalSeaDramon, find the ruins of the restaurant Joe and Yamato worked at. So against MetalSeaDramon, they found the telephone booths from the first arc. And against Puppetmon, they find the restaurant from the second arc. It's almost like each Dark Master represents one of the story arcs. Or maybe I'm thinking too much into it? Maybe. And the fight with Puppetmon continues. Puppetmon lures them into a trap. Yeah, my thoughts exactly. Now, can War Greymon beat Puppetmon? Probably not. Puppetmon controls him with strings, and although he does end up breaking free, Puppetmon then turns his house into a giant mecha. And it's time for MetalSeaDramon vs MetalSeaDramon, and Mimi's refusal to fight is really pushed to the limit. And when MetalSeaDramon attacks Mimi, MetalSeaDramon jumps in the way. Oh boy, please don't die, Leomon. I was only joking earlier. And then MetalSeaDramon manages to make a crack in MetalSeaDramon's chrome Digizoid skin, because his hammer is also made of chrome Digizoid. And then MetalSeaDramon uses that crack to attack and destroy MetalSeaDramon, but then he collapses. Meanwhile, the other gang fight the giant house mecha. Then, as Puppetmon tries to escape, MetalGarurumon turns up, and Yamato shows his true worth. Puppetmon, who refuses to care for people who will kill his own friends, loses to Yamato and MetalGarurumon, who treasure their friends. Well done, Yamato. And the forest part of Spiral Mountain disappears. So, Leomon does die. Oh man. Leomon says he'll be reborn in the Village of Beginnings, but then Ogamon says the Village of Beginnings is dead, and it won't return to normal until they defeat the Dark Masters. Well, they've already defeated 2 of the Dark Masters, so, you know. So when Digimon die, their data goes to the Village of Beginnings, where it is reborn as a Digitama, or a Digi-Egg. And with this knowledge, Mimi finds her reason to fight. By the way, Mimi's eyes in this frame, what the fuck is going on? And this is totally going to be the thumbnail for this video. And it's time for Machinedramon, or Machinedramon. Well, the Dramon Buster should take care of him, right? Because, you know, it's strong against Dramon type Digimon. Uh-oh, Hikari is ill. Oh shit. And the gang find America, and Italy, and France in the same place? What a coincidence. So human places have started appearing in the digital world, although there are no humans there. The gang take the opportunity to find a place for Hikari to rest. Taichi and genius Koshiro search for cold medicine. Koshiro jacks into a phone booth and gets a map of the area to help them find it. But Machinedраmon's forces notice and his army move in on them. They find a hospital and Koshiro jacks into another phone line to help find the medicine they need. So Machinedраmon's forces surround the hospital and attack. Koshiro and Taichi manage to hide, and Koshiro plugs in again so he can map out the enemy locations, which of course alerts them to where they are. And Piemon is watching from afar, and he assumes that Machinedramon will take care of them. So is Machinedramon stronger than Puppetmon and MetalSeaDramon? Probably. Anyway, MetalGreymon fights his way through Machinedramon's forces and they escape. But Taichi freaks out and he blames Koshiro, but he manages to get a hold of himself. He explains to Koshiro, but he also explains to us that when he was young, he almost got Hikari killed. She was at home with a cold and she seemed fine when he got home from school, so he took her out to play, and she ended up collapsing and had to go to hospital. Oh boy, sad emotional moment. Anyway, genius Koshiro makes a program to fool the enemy when he plugs in, and they can't pinpoint their location anymore. And now that they know the enemy's location, they head to Hikari. But Machinedramon enacts Plan Z, whatever that is. Uh-oh, Plan Z is to destroy the whole city. Oh boy, and as they head back to the mansion Hikari and the others are in, it's blown up. Oh boy. But luckily the gang have already moved. And then Machinedramon appears. Oh shit, and he blasts them through the floor. They've lost. Or have they? Wait a minute, I know this scene. Didn't they reuse this scene in Digimon Adventure 2020? In the MetalGarurumon episode? Anyway, luckily everyone is alright, although Taichi and Koshiro are nowhere to be found. And oh boy, it's the evil version of Monsimon forcing loads of Numemon into slave labour. Hikari feels sad about what's happening, and she starts glowing. Crest of sadness, baby. Sora and Takeru lead Waru Monsimon away, while Hikari and Teomon free the Numemon. And it seems like they're in some kind of underground city. Patamon and Piemon are super energized, but can't digivolve. And then all the Numemon swarm Waru Monsimon. And then as Waru Monsimon starts to beat down the Numemon, it's Angiwomon, Bergermon and Angimon to the rescue. And we start to realise that Hikari has the power to power everyone else up. Waru Monsimon escapes and reports to Machinedramon, who then destroys Waru Monsimon. Oh boy, what is it with the Dark Masters and killing their own minions? So Taichi is literally tirelessly searching for Hikari, even though Agumon and Tentomon are tired, and as Koshiro tries to convince him that they all need to rest, Taichi loses it and he attacks Koshiro. But it turns out to be a ploy. Taichi explains to Koshiro that they're being tailed, so they lie in wait to ambush the tailor. But they can't digivolve. And it turns out to be Andromon. Oh yeah, he's a good guy. He's been acting as a resistance against Machinedramon, all alone. He's for sure going to die, isn't he? Andromon helps them, but then Machinedramon arrives, and Andromon fights him off. Yep, he gonna die, alright. Meanwhile, Hikari's light leads them to Taichi and Koshiro, and they reunite, and it's time to fight. But they don't stand a chance. Then Hikari steps forward, and her music plays? Is that her music? The Numemon attack Machinedramon, and he kills them all. Goddamn, you just made the Digidestined of Sadness super sad. And you know what that means. Superpowered War Greymon. But the superpowered War Greymon, after one hit, immediately de-digivolves. But it's okay, it turns out he actually destroyed Machinedramon. Again, anticlimactic for sure, but kind of cool in its own way, I guess. Mostly anticlimactic. And then the cities or the urban part of Spiral Mountain disappears. Only one Dark Master left, y'all. But just one moment, we have a detour, the fabulous Lady Devimon. So far in Digimon Adventure, we have had Devimon versus Angimon, we've also had Demi-Devimon versus Patamon, and now we're getting Lady Devimon versus Angiwomon. Okay Toei, I see what you're doing. Joe and Mimi find more friends. It's Frigimon, I think that's his name. Frigimon and Meramon. And Joe thinks about his path to becoming a doctor. Can he find his own path? Meanwhile, Piemon is just chilling, relaxing, not caring about the other Dark Masters. He's drinking... what is he drinking? A whiskey? Some kind of cocktail? You know, Piemon kind of has a Dracula feel to him. A real classy, evil guy.
What is a man? A miserable little pile of secrets!
Joe and Mimi make it to the Village of Beginnings, which has faded to darkness. And Joe hears a harmonica. Is it Yamato? Meanwhile, Koshiro uses Andromon to scan his surroundings. They're on the top of Spiral Mountain. Enter Lady Devimon. The girls immediately dislike her, of course. Angimon enters the fight. Angimon, who can one-hit a Phantomon, remember? And he actually hurt Myotismon, so he could surely fight Lady Devimon. Well, it doesn't matter, because Gatomon is digivolving into Angiwomon, so I'm sure we'll be alright. She uses Darkness Wave, which is literally Grizzly Wing. And Angiwomon is the only one who manages to hurt her. And Taichi, once again, being mature and smart, splits up their forces. He asks Sora and Takeru to go around and bring everybody else here, because he knows that the final fight with Piemon is coming and he'll need everybody there. And he thinks that Koshiro and Hikaru will be able to handle Lady Devimon by themselves, because she is only an ultimate level. And if he needs to, he can digivolve Agumon into War Greymon as a last resort, but hopefully he won't need to, and hopefully he can save that for the fight against Piemon. Oh my god, he's being smart. So Joe and Mimi find Elecmon. It wasn't Yamato with his harmonica, it was Elecmon with Yamato's harmonica. Poor Elecmon. They convince him to join them, and he reveals that the harmonica did indeed belong to Yamato, and that he saw a boat going across the lake the night before. Meanwhile, Lady Devimon is kicking Angiwomon's ass, but then Mega Caputerimon joins the fight. Yes, very true, Genius Koshiro. And it's time for Heaven's Charm. And Piemon, the last Dark Master, approaches. He seems completely unconcerned that he is the last one. And so it's War Greymon versus Piemon, but War Greymon can't hurt Piemon at all. Oh boy, Yamato is sinking into darkness as he believes that no one needs him, but Gabumon brings him back. Yamato realizes he's not alone and that everything is okay now. Good for you, Yamato. It's actually quite a nice scene as Yamato conquers his inner demons and his true enemy, loneliness. And then Joe finds him and gives him back his harmonica. Oh yeah, Joe and Yamato, best buds forever. Meanwhile, War Greymon is getting his ass kicked by Piemon. And then it's Sora's turn to fall into darkness. No, this is not Kingdom Hearts. Sora's darkness seems to be about her taking all responsibility onto herself. Joe and Yamato try to pull Sora out of the darkness, and it works. This one was less impactful, but hey, it works. Meanwhile, Wargreymon is still getting his ass kicked, and it seems like all is lost, but then everybody shows up. Well, everybody except for Mimi. Where's Mimi? Oh shit, Yamato's power of friendship heals Wargreymon, and it's time for MetalSeaDramon to join the fight. It's time for Holy Angemon, probably. And oh boy, our 2 mega levels go out like bitches. We do actually get some nice teamwork between the two though, as they actually manage to fight Piemon. But Piemon has tricks up his sleeve. He turns our resident mega level Digimon Antaichi and Yamato into keychains. And oh shit, it's Genai with Centauramon and a wall of fire? Andromon. Andromon is gonna die, isn't he? He wards off Piemon while the others run away, and they have to make their way through a circus act to flee. And Piemon starts turning everybody into keychains. He is unstoppable. Angie-Woman gets wrecked. Sora convinces Takeru that he's the only one who can protect Hikari. Takeru finds a magical rope. It's obviously another one of Piemon's tricks, but they climb it anyway. And then Angemon versus Piemon. Well, Angemon doesn't get destroyed in one hit. He's a strong boy, but he still gets his ass kicked. And then Piemon corners Hikari and Takeru, and they fall to their death. Takeru starts to lose hope, but his brother Keychain tells him not to give up. And his crest glows, and oh yeah, the hype is real. It's Holy Angemon, or Magna Angemon. He saves Hikari and Takeru, he kicks Piemon's ass, and he rescues the rest of the Digi-Destined. Mimi still isn't there, right? And then Piemon summons an army of Evilmon, and then Mimi shows up, with all her reinforcements and buddies she's made along the way. Everyone digivolves, and it's time for the final battle. Piemon gets his ass kicked until finally Holy Angemon takes care of Piemon's evil army, and Wargreymon and MetalSeaDramon blast Piemon into the gate. Boom, digital world saved. Good guys win, right? And then Genai sends them an ominous message. They have another enemy. This enemy is what caused the distortions in the first place. It's time for the last evil Digimon. The Digi-Destined fall into a separate dimension. Genai explains the Wall of Fire. He found inscriptions saying that something appeared from the other side of the Wall of Fire. That creature warped space and time by simply existing, and almost brought the whole world to destruction. The Digimon couldn't defeat it, so they called forth the Chosen Children to fight it. Chosen Children before our current Digi-Destined. So there was a group of Digi-Destined before the ones that we came to know and love. And this evil force is back, and they come face to face with Apocalymon. Its special attack is Darkness Zone, which turns everything to darkness. Meanwhile, in the human world, everyone gets to watch the fight through the tear in the sky. So apparently Apocalymon is the amalgamation of Digimon who have gone extinct through evolution? Well, alright then. By the way, if you are noticing similarities in appearance between Apocalymon and the villains we've faced so far, that is no mere coincidence. One big similarity being that he is wearing Myotismon's cape. He shows shades of Devimon, Piemon, and even Etamon with his insular piping. And he can de-digivolve Digimon, a pretty overpowered attack, but only if he manages to grasp them in his claws. And then he destroys the Digi-Destined's crests. He even disintegrates the Digi-Destined themselves, and their Digimon. Oh lordy. And everybody turns into binary. Luckily everyone can hear each other in the binary world, and the Digi-Destined's Digimon renew the Digi-Destined's resolve. And we hear a slow version of the intro music. Ah yeah, this is another cool scene. Everyone reignites their crests, and they kind of do a one for all for one kind of thing. Basically, Taichi's crest of courage isn't just his, it's everyone's courage, and the same for each of the different crests. And then we get a huge Digivolution scene, and the And it's time! Time for the motherfucking finale to motherfucking Digimon Adventure. Well, kinda. We still have a movie to go, but back when this aired, this was the finale. Everyone digivolves in a super hype moment for the series. It's the final battle. They destroy the D-Digivolution claws in a coordinated assault on Apocalymon, and then they move to attack the main body. And they destroy Apocalymon, or they destroy the little body that was on top of the big body, but he's still alive somehow, and he initiates a self-destruct attack that could wipe out both worlds. But then another miracle occurs because of the Digidestined's faith and their resolve. The Digivices encase the explosion and stop it. Happy ending time! Was it kind of anticlimactic? They defeated him in barely any time at all, but it was pretty well done. And then Genai and the good guy Digimon arrive, and we find out what the fate of the digital world will be. The digital world will be recreated. The gang arrive at the Village of Beginnings. All the Digitama from the dead Digimon are arriving. Hikaru picks up a specific egg. Could it be? Then Andromon takes a picture of everyone. And the Digitama hatches. It's a Botamon. Botamon who could potentially digivolve into Wizardmon. So this could be Wizardmon reincarnated. How fucking awesome is that? But then Botamon can also digivolve into Koromon, so it could also be a Koromon, which would also work. I like to believe it's Wizardmon! And then Ogremon takes off dressed up like a Ronin. The Digidestined reminisce about their adventure. And they decide to stay in the digital world for the rest of their vacation, which in the digital world would last for over 100 years. But then we get some bad news. There is an eclipse in the sky that represents the gate to the human world. When it closes, they won't be able to return again. Also, time now flows the same in the digital world as it does in the human world, so the gang has 2 hours left. Sad, sad times. Hikari gives Tailmon her whistle. Oh boy, heartstrings and such. Tailmon blows the whistle as the Digidestined leave. Very nicely done. Yeah, Toei knew what they were doing with this series. It's super well done. This was better than I remember. Okay, so it's over, it's finished. Let's dive into the review. This story arc is anticlimactic in many ways, but at the same time there are some really good parts that stand out rewatching it so many years later. Like, the farewell at the end was really good. And you know what? It was an interesting idea to have each fight with the Dark Masters have like a different theme. MetalSeaDramon was essentially a car chase, but underwater. Puppetmon was a game of life and death with a psychopath. Kind of like the Saw films, although this does predate Saw. Maybe Saw was inspired by Puppetmon. And then Machinedramon was a game of hide and seek. And then Piemon, who was essentially a serial killer taking them down one by one until only Takeru and Hikari were left. And then eventually Takeru's desperation and hope caused Angemon to digivolve and save everybody. It was a good way to keep things interesting when there are 4 big villains. Well, 5 villains really. But then each of these mini arcs ended anticlimactically. Like after the chase with MetalSeaDramon, after he caught up to them and killed Ramon, he was then killed in one move. Puppetmon was done fairly well, actually, probably the best out of all of them. He had a fight with MetalSeaDramon, but then MetalSeaDramon died anticlimactically. Puppetmon's death, however, was done pretty well, with a hint of sadness to it. Machinedramon had a nice flashback and some backstory with Taichi and Hikari, and there was some good development between Taichi and Kashiro. But then Machinedramon got killed in one hit. A lot of one-hit kills in this arc. Piemon also had a good arc, but it was overshadowed by the mess that was Apocalymon. Apocalymon felt like he came out of nowhere, and he was forced in as the end big evil behind everything, to explain everything, and solve everything with his death. Even though it does make sense when you step back and take a look at the series as a whole. Digimon Adventure was an adventure to develop the Digidestined and challenge them, and ready them for this final fight against Apocalymon. Apocalymon is the threat to both worlds, and to defeat this threat they need the Digidestined at their best. So the entire adventure of Digimon Adventure was so that they could become strong enough to defeat Apocalymon. And the 4 Dark Masters being there to mirror the 4 story arcs of Digimon Adventure is no coincidence. They revisit different areas from their journey as they fight their way through the Dark Masters. And then when they defeat the Dark Masters, only then are they finally ready to fight and defeat Apocalymon. And they do. On paper, it looks like it should work perfectly, like it's really well planned out. But Apocalymon was a bit crappy. Perhaps it's his design. He's an amalgamation of everything they've already defeated, so of course they'll beat him. Maybe he shouldn't have been that. Maybe he should have been some ancient evil, the likes of which they'd never faced before, rather than the embodiment of failed evolution. Digimon Adventure 2020 did this better. Their final villain was actually interesting, and it had a cool design, and there was a good, enjoyable fight to watch. Although I don't think the rest of the series holds up to this original Digimon Adventure. Like, as a whole, Digimon Adventure is so well planned out. It's a piece of art when it comes to storytelling. But you know what, that's a video for another time. The original Digimon Adventure versus the remake, Digimon Adventure 2020. Anyway, continuing with this review. There were some moments that made this arc great. Seeing all their old friends, and those friends literally sacrificing themselves so that the Digidestined can continue their journey. They literally wouldn't have made it without those friends that they've made. And you really feel the sorrow as we lose these Digimon that we've grown attached to over the course of the series. They make their grand return, and then they die. Sad times. And the character development in this arc is really good, especially with Taichi and Yamato. And the final goodbye in that final episode. Perfectly done to make us sad that the adventure is over, but leave us with hope that there will be another one. And oh boy, there will. No, not you, Adventure 02. I'm talking about our wargame, or children's wargame. Don't worry, Adventure 02, I will get to you one day. So my final closing thoughts are that there are some things that could have been done better, but there are also some perfect moments. This arc was good, but also bad. The good moments are really good, and the bad moments let it down. Was it as good as the MetalSeaDramon saga? Not a chance. The Etamon saga? Maybe. The Devimon saga? Probably not. Alright, it's grading time. This saga, the Dark Masters saga, gets a C grade. Ultimately still enjoyable and unmissable. You can't skip this saga, it's the end of Digimon Adventure, you need to watch it. But it won't be completely satisfying. You'll be let down by it quite a bit. But you'll be happy you watched it. The story is still good, and it's a really good farewell to Digimon Adventure. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Digimon Adventure is in the books, out of sight, out of mind. It's done, it's complete. But wait, there's more. It's Digimon, there's always more. Before we fully say goodbye to Digimon Adventure, we must look towards the movie Children's Wargame, or Our Wargame. It's a damn good movie. I will see you all then.